Hi everyone, Nathan here with ATC Cooling and Heating. And you may have heard that there is a new refrigerant entering the market for all HVAC equipment. Some news reports make it sound pretty scary, while others make it sound like the best thing ever. We're going to hit the high points and discuss the best time to consider replacing your equipment. But first, some definitions. Refrigerant is the fluid that runs in the copper lines that connect your indoor coil or air handler to the outdoor condensing unit. You can see that right here. Here's the indoor unit, and that red line is the refrigerant tubing going to your outdoor unit. This fluid switches back and forth between a liquid, the smaller line, and a vapor, the larger copper line, as it moves heat out of your home during AC operation and heat into your home during heat pump operation. In late 2020, the American Innovation and Manufacturing, or AIM Act, authorized the EPA to phase down the production and use of hydrofluorocarbons, or HFCs. Accordingly, HVAC manufacturers are transitioning to low GWP, or global warming potential refrigerants, for all new residential and commercial ducted HVAC systems manufactured as of January 1st, 2025 and installed as of January 1st, 2026. That said, many HVAC manufacturers are moving to equipment using the new refrigerant a little sooner, for example, in the fall of 2024. Now, a refrigerant called R454B has emerged as the most popular substitute for the commonly used R410A, though some manufacturers have chosen another refrigerant called R32, which is very similar. For reference, if your system was built in 2010 or newer, it likely uses R410A refrigerant, which was itself a replacement for an older refrigerant called R22. So what is there to know about R454B? First, it's not really new. This refrigerant has been used in Europe and in large commercial units for years. Next, as has been widely reported, R454B is a propane-based refrigerant, and that means it is flammable, but only slightly so. In fact, to get it to burn, you have to hold a flame directly on it and keep it there. So not a big drawback. I should point out that performance between R454 and R410A is not really a concern either. They're so close, it's probably not worth talking about. Another consideration, R454B is not compatible with other refrigerants. In particular, this impacts replacement installations. Oftentimes, getting to the existing refrigerant tubing is challenging, and it can be tucked away in a wall or drywalled over or worse. In my example up here, the attic unit has a refrigerant line set, that's the red line, that goes down inside this wall and then out to the condensing unit outside. The basement unit has a refrigerant line set that's tucked inside a ceiling. Maybe it's a drop ceiling, which would be a lot easier, but maybe it's drywalled, which would not, and then out to the outdoor unit. With R410A equipment, we are often able to flush and reuse the refrigerant tubing, no matter if it previously used R22 or R410. Thus, changing to new R410A equipment is pretty straightforward. But with the new R54B equipment, we will always need to change out the refrigerant tubing. Replacing the tubing, or line set as it's called in the industry, can cost an additional $400 to $1,000 or even more, depending on the house. Next, R454B equipment itself is expected to cost more. In addition to simply being new, it requires some monitoring devices on the refrigerant lines that raise the wholesale cost by, we're guessing here, 10 to 20%. When this new cost reaches the homeowner, I expect new equipment to cost around $500 to $1,500 more. Add that to the cost for the new refrigerant tubing, and you could expect an additional cost of $1,000 to $2,500 when putting in new R454B equipment. Of course, time will tell where all this shakes out, but these changes mean that now may be a good time to replace your equipment, and especially if it's approaching its useful life, which for an AC or heat pump system is about 15 years. A potential drawback of keeping your old equipment is the cost of R410A, which is expected to increase over the next 10 to 20 years. That may happen, or it may not, but for most homeowners, it's not really relevant. Unless there is a fault in your system, it should never consume refrigerant. Really, if you need to recharge your system by adding refrigerant, that's an indication that there is a leak in the system that needs to be fixed. So there you have it. A new refrigerant is on the horizon, and while it's not scary, equipment will certainly cost more, which means now may be a good time to consider replacement. If you have any questions on refrigerant or really anything HVAC, leave a comment below or visit us at atcservice.com. Thanks for watching.